Good morning and welcome to Title Talk. It's Tuesday, May 28th. I'm Karen Hamstra and let me show you some new books. First, there's a new Tom Clancy Op Center book, Sting of the Wasp. This is written by Jeff Rovin. It's a beautiful day in Manhattan as excited tourists board the floating Air and Space Museum on the USS Intrepid until a horrible explosion rips across the flight deck. The perpetrator is none other than Captain Ahmed Salehi, an Iranian mastermind whose latest terrorism plot was foiled at the last minute by Op Center. So it's Tom Clancy's concept, but it's filed under the author's name, Jeff Rovin, R-O-V-I-N. Biloxi, a novel by Mary Miller. This is a Southern novel about a man who's down on his luck, avoiding his sister-in-law. His wife of 37 years has left him. His father passed, and he impulsively retired from his job. And now he doesn't know what to do with himself. Says on a routine trip to Walgreens to pick up his diabetes medication, he stops at a sign advertising free dogs and meets Harry Davidson, a man who claims to have more than a dozen canines on offer, but he only offers one, an overweight mixed breed named Layla. Without any rational explanation, Lewis feels compelled to take the dog home, and the two become inseparable. Lewis, more than anyone else, is dumbfounded to find himself in love. So, read about what happens to Lewis and Layla in Biloxi by Mary Miller. Deception Cove by Owen Laukanan. Pardon me, Owen, I probably butchered your last name. Here is a picture of Owen and his dog. This book also features a dog. Former U.S. Marine Jess Winslow enters civilian life as a new widow with little more to her name than a falling down house, a medical discharge for PTSD, and a loyal dog named Lucy. The only thing she actually cares about is that dog, a black and white pit bull mix who helps her cope with the devastating memories of her time in Afghanistan. So you can read about those two in Deception Cove. The Road to Grantchester by James Runcie. This is a prequel to the TV series. It's 1938 at the time. Amanda Kendall is at her brother Robert's birthday party at the Caledonian Club. No one can believe on this golden evening that there could be another war, but 7 years later, Sidney has gained a military cross and lost his best friend on the battlefields of Italy. His carefree youth has been blown apart just like the rest of the world. So you can read all, if you like historical fiction and a mystery all wrapped into one, you will enjoy this one. Here is a nonfiction book about a football player, Mind and Matter, Life in Math and Football by John Urschel. It looks like it would be both interesting and inspiring. It can be found at 796.332092 URS. It will be on the new bookshelf for a couple of months. Mind and Matter. And another nonfiction book, Apollo's Legacy, Perspectives on the Moon Landing. This has just a lot of interesting information about what went on during the time of the moon landing. And of course, we're celebrating the big anniversary of that this year. This one can be found at 629.454 and under the first three letters of the author's last name, which is L-A-U. Robert Launius, Apollo's Legacy. And for you Dorothea Benton Frank fans, she has a new one coming out. We're releasing this today. It's called Queen Bee. I know there are some holds on this, so you just want to put a hold on it. Don't rush down to get it off the shelf. This is about a beekeeper named Holly McNee Jensen. She quietly lives on her own world and on Sullivan's Island, tending her hives and working at the local island library. Well, she must be a nice woman then. Holly calls her mother the Queen Bee because she's a demanding hulk of a woman. Her mother might be a devoted hypochondriac, but that doesn't stop her from tormenting Holly. To escape the drama, Holly's sister Leslie married and moved away, wanting little to do with island life. Holly's escape is to submerge herself in the lives of the two young boys next door and their widowed father, Archie. And just look at the inside leaf covers. They're like a beehive. Queen Bee, Dorothea Benton Frank. And then Jessica Fletcher and John Land have a new Murder, She Wrote. This is called Murder in Red, if you'd like to follow along with TV stories. In this one, Jessica Fletcher's favorite Jim Rummy partner, Mimi Van Dorn, checks into the brand new Clifton Care Partners Clinic, a private hospital that's just opened up for a simple procedure, one that tragically and inexplicably leads to her death. Ooh. Seeking justice in her inimitable fashion, Jessica decides to pursue her own investigation on the hospital and its shadowy business dealings. Murder in Red. New Jessica Fletcher, and that is filed under Fletcher. We have another one that is a suspense novel called Dark Sight. It's a Sam Dryden novel by Patrick Lee. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but it's an unexceptional morning, and Sam Dryden finds himself the target of a carefully planned abduction by a prepared, trained attacker. Oh my goodness. Dryden, however, manages to overcome his assailant, learning in the process that a woman named Danica Ellis is also being targeted. Desperate to find out what is going on, Dryden races to save her, arriving just in time, but the mystery only deepens. Dryden and Ellis have nothing in common, don't recognize each other, and there's no reason for either of them to be the object of such lethal scrutiny. The only clue is a heavily redacted official-looking document given to Danica by her stepfather before the attack, and no doubt that must have something to do with it. Dark Sight by Patrick Lee. Sounds like it would be full of suspense. Here's a book with a novel with a funny title, How Not to Die Alone by Richard Roper. For one thing, it looks like you should stay out of the way of flying flowers, just based on the cover there. No one wants to die without having really lived. Andrew's been feeling stuck. Then he meets Peggy. Could there be more to life than this? So, the story of Andrew and Peggy, How Not to Die Alone, by Richard Roper. And our last fiction book for the day is Ask Again, Yes, a novel by Mary Beth Keane, and she is the author of Fever. How Much Can a Family Forgive? A profoundly moving novel about two neighboring families in a suburban town, the bond between their children, a tragedy that reverberates over 4 decades, the daily intimacies of marriage, and the power of forgiveness. Ask Again, Yes, by Mary Beth Keane. And last but not least, 2 other nonfiction books. If you're a quilter, we have a new quilt book called Classic to Contemporary String Quilts, Techniques, Inspiration, and 16 Projects for Strip Quilting. 746.46, the author is Mary M. Hogan, so it's under HOG. It just has some beautiful looking quilts in it, and this is quilt season in Marion, so you might want to snap that one up. And last but not least, the PVC Pipe book, Projects for the Home, Garden, and Homestead by Chris Peterson. This one will be at 745.57. Just all kinds of things. If you'd like to build your child or grandchild a soccer goal, or you need some place to stack your logs, or you need a wine rack, or just a rack to hold your kids' toys and trays, this is the book for you. I looked through it, and it has a lot of really cute and amazing projects you can make out of PVC pipe. So, hope you've found something there to whet your interest in reading this week. See you next week. Happy reading.